Let's talk about the Supreme Court. I'm sure you heard, unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died last week on Friday night. And it upended the political apple cart of this election, threw everything that we thought was going to happen up in the air like a juggler. Where these pieces land, we still don't know. But we're starting to see how Democrats are lining up on this and proving once again that they have absolutely no backbone. And they have continued to allow Trump's federal court judges to be approved and put in place, stacking the courts as much as they want. And all of these Democrats, from Joe Manchin to Dick Durbin to God knows the list. I mean, all these career politicians, even as early as this week, just voted to confirm additional federal court judges for President Trump. This is shaping up to be one of the most important Supreme Court vacancies in American history. And Republicans are about to just roll over Democrats on this. And Democrats are it's almost like, alpha and the alpha dog. Democrats are just like cowering down. Like, this is like Grover right now. This is like what Democrats look like. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Don't roll over me. Because they're not showing any backbone standing up to Republicans on this vacancy. I mean, here's a headline on CNN. This one just blew me away. Pelosi says she will not leverage the government shutdown to avoid a Senate vote on the court seat. Now, of course, she was on with George Stephanopoulos this week and basically said, no, the country doesn't have any kind of an appetite for a government shutdown in an effort to try to stop this judicial nomination. No, I don't think anybody wants that. She said, I know that there's some on the left. She said, that's telling right there. There are some on the left that would want that, but, no, I don't think we need to do that. So what's going to happen? They're going to roll over again for Republicans on a conservative court nomination that's going to solidify the most conservative court we've had in the United States since the 1950s. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. This is an analysis done by Michael Bailey, who went through and studied votes based on how they voted in the past for different court cases and did a full analysis. And this grid that he put together was pretty telling. It says, if Trump appoints a third justice, the Supreme Court would be the most conservative it's been since 1950, based on their voting record at the court level. This is one of the most important battles politically that they should be focused on, and they're not. And they're just going to roll over. Here's Nancy Pelosi, couldn't really even answer this, to George Stephanopoulos, basically saying, we're not going to really do anything at all.
Of course, you're the Speaker of the House, not a member of the Senate. Is there any way Democrats can slow this nomination down or block it?
Well, as you say, that is a matter for the Senate. But I will say this. It's really important for everyone to get out there and vote. The day the justice passed away, 10 states started early voting that day. We just want everyone across the country who cares about health care for all Americans, who cares about crushing the coronavirus.
What? What the hell is she talking about? Vote? What is that going to do? What is that going to do to stop a conservative justice being put on the Supreme Court? What is she talking about? If they try to cram through this thing before Election Day, and they don't, by the way, they don't even need to have hearings to get this justice through. They have the votes. They've already told us they have the votes. What is voting going to do? So that we can wait until January? For what? They're going to push this through no matter what. Unless you show some backbone and step in and stop it. If anyone cares right now about, women's health, the environment, I'm talking about regulation, all of these big businesses that, bought and sold Washington for years. You care about clean air, clean water, the climate. You care about health care. You care about any of these things. This matters. This matters more than just about anything else. This matters more than electing your senators or representatives. They will come and go, but these people will be here for generations. You're just going to just go out and vote. That's all. That's because we can't really do anything. Yeah, you can. So Stephanopoulos pressed her on this a little bit more.
Can you do then? Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you and the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now. But the fact is, we have a big challenge in our country. This president has threatened to not even accept the results of the election with statements that he and his...
So I'll just change the subject. I want to answer your question. We have arrows in our quiver. Really? But I'm not going to talk about them right now. Okay, well, you're running out of time. You're not going to talk about these arrows in your quiver? And you're going to roll over? So Stephanopoulos didn't stop. He kept pressing her on this. Good for him. Former communications, head of communications for Bill Clinton. I mean, he's a liberal. This is a favorable softball interview for him, but he pressed her a couple times. You can tell that he's like, hey, what are you going to do here? Because his former boss was on being interviewed by Jake Tapper the other day, and he was talking about this exact same thing. And he was saying, we need to use everything in our power to stop this.
You have said that her 27 years on the court exceeds
the conversation of a lifetime with her, and I, but a couple determined that whoever I put on the court to the human impact of
polar opposite on the bench. I want to show our viewers, here they are together on vacation in India, riding in elephants. You got her vote for all these roses that you're giving her. And Scalia replied, quote, some things are more important than votes. You yourself have become famously close with George H.W. Bush. Do you think this era is gone?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. You know, President George W. Bush.
I didn't have the soundbite queued up properly. Anyway, he said we need to pull out every arrow in our quiver and use it. And we need to stop them. So, Stephanopoulos' former boss was able to come out and say we need to do more. We need to stop this. Grover agrees. George Stephanopoulos, to his credit, he wouldn't give this question up. He kept pressing Nancy Pelosi on this point. Like, well, what are you going to do about the Supreme Court? Are you just going to roll over on this? Here's what she said, and this is one of the most bizarre moments in television that I can remember. Watch.
To be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
What the hell? What? Good morning. Sunday morning. Yeah. I mean, is she out to lunch now too? I mean, this is literally what we're stuck with now. We're stuck with President Trump, who can't complete a sentence to save his life. We're stuck with Joe Biden as a Democratic nominee. We're stuck with Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, who's just about to roll over. And, these people, I don't know what's going on.
Come on, man.
It's true, Joe. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I mean, what the hell was that?
The day that we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Oh. This is America. Oh, man. Good morning. Sunday morning. I mean, I don't know what Stephanopoulos must have been thinking. I mean, what do you do if you're George Stephanopoulos at that moment? Like, sorry, Nancy, did you just have an episode?
Good morning. Sunday morning.
That's your Speaker of the House. I think the only one speaking sense right now is AOC. You know, spew your hate at me if you want, but here's someone who is speaking up for what progressives in this country need right now: healthcare, protections for the environment. I mean, all you need to do is go up to these neck of the woods in my home state of Pennsylvania, and just drive through the mountains. Go up and ask some of these families who've been near fracking sites what their water looks like. These were Trump supporters. These were Trump voters. Now they'll tell you, I can't even drink my water because it's orange and has methane in it. And the fracking company down the street wants to buy my silence. You think they're voting for Trump anymore? They're not. They used to, though. They used to think, yeah, drill, baby, drill. Listen to Sarah Palin. Drill, baby, drill. Do it, do it, do it. Until it's next door and it ruins your drinking water. There's so few people in Congress actually talking about the things that you care about. Your family's future, healthcare, school, education, nutritious food that's locally sourced, that you don't have to ship from Mexico. Why are we the fattest country in the world? Because we are so nutritionally challenged in this country with processed crap filled with sugar. You know why? Because big corporations make money off of us, and Congress goes along with it. So AOC took to the podium and said, we better fight with everything in our arsenal. This is what she said at the podium the night. She said, every tool at our disposal we need to go with. Here's what she had to say.
It's extraordinarily important that we understand the stakes of this vacancy. Our reproductive rights are on the line. Our labor rights are on the line. Our right to health care is on the line. Labor and union protections are on the line. Our climate is on the line. With an early appointment, all of our rights, the rights that so many people died for, voting rights, reproductive rights, healthcare rights, all of those rights are at risk with this appointment. And so we need to make sure that we mobilize on an unprecedented scale to ensure that this vacancy is reserved for the next president. And we must use every tool at our disposal, from everyday people, especially in swing states. We need everyday people to call on senators, to call on folks on the bubble, to call Republican senators to make sure that they hold this vacancy open. And we must also commit to using every procedural tool available to us to ensure that we buy ourselves the time necessary.
I think that's the most salient argument that I heard from anybody. We need to use every procedural tool at our disposal to make sure that we get this nomination done correctly and fill this vacancy correctly. Republicans did it. When the shoe's on the other foot, Republicans did it against President Obama. You remember when President Obama was elected, of course, remember? He had all these ideas he wanted to get through Congress. What did they do? Use the filibuster. Republicans did. Mitch McConnell openly and plainly said, we will do everything in our power to make sure that we don't work with him on anything. Right away, that was their plan. Okay. People want to say that AOC is dumb. I saw someone here right in the chat say AOC is dumb. Okay. She may come off as, young, fun, whatever. I don't know if that comes off as dumb, but here's a person who figured out, the voices of progressives in her district, understood these issues that matter to so many people that don't have a voice. In many ways, they have a lot in common with Trump voters who felt like that both parties had, big money candidates had totally let them down for so many years, and they decided to go along with Trump because here's a guy that was telling them that big businesses are continuing to lie to you, government is continuing to lie to you, taking us into foreign wars, etc. So Trump's message in 2016 resonated, and I'm sure a lot of those same people that voted for AOC, there's a lot of similarities there. They're tired of government that's bought and sold by Wall Street and lied to. They're being lied to constantly by these politicians. So you have AOC out there saying we need to use everything at our disposal. And then you have, this.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Good morning. Good Sunday morning. Sorry for this leaf blower. I'm so sorry outside, guys. But this is your Supreme Court battle right now. And, unless we do something, it's going to continue. It's going to be, as I said, the most conservative Supreme Court since 1950. The death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, gives President Trump this unbelievable opportunity right now to seat 3 Supreme Court justices who will move the court completely to the right. And this isn't just about, Roe v. Wade and women's rights, which is a huge issue, and which, if they are able to put in, if he's able to put in one of his conservative judges that they've already handpicked by the Federalist Society, make no mistake, when those battles come down for women's reproductive rights, bye-bye to that. Beyond that, let's talk about the environment. Let's talk about regulations that then come up in the court, which they will. In fact, there's a big one heading towards the Supreme Court already, which means that if they can get this in place, a lot of the major issues that, liberals are pretty concerned with are going to be handled by the Supreme Court very, very soon. Make no mistake about it. It's all coming. On top of that, President Trump, he said yesterday at a press conference that, in fact, he wants this done before Election Day because if it comes down to a Bush v. Gore situation, letting this be decided by the Supreme Court, he wants that to be the case, litigated by the courts, because he thinks that, he's going to call this election a hoax if Democrats try to claim victory. So he'd rather have it handled by his conservative hand-picked Supreme Court to win. This is what we're dealing with.